So wiring one of these, this is a civilian, so it's quite a bit easier than a military, yeah? Even though he's got the military switch on it, you can still use it. Just pick up which wires you want to go where. You get a terminal kit, okay? So you have a bolt, your isolator that side. Well, they go through the frame, through these two holes here, look, which have been drilled out because people put spark plug wires through them, which is wrong. Yeah. But that goes through, then that isolates it from the frame, and you put one of these on, and that stops it from having, if an edge of one of these where you connect it is sticking out, it stops it touching the frame and shorting. And then you have one of those, and you put a nut on. So that's your first, what I always do first is get those two on. So I should leave him like that for a minute. Do the other one. Okay. And you don't want to do these up mad tight because you can crack the Bakelite. So I'll leave them like that for a minute. Right, the rest of your looms, yeah. That one there with the 3 wires and no terminals on is the piece that runs down the handlebars from the switches. You remember that?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so that's that one. That's your coil to distributor wire underneath the distributor base. That is your coil, goes from the coil down to the brake light switch.
Yeah.
And you've got 2 blacks in there. One's for the front marker lamp on the front mudguard if you're running one, and the other one is for the horn push button that goes down through the handlebars. Right, those are all to do with the dash panel. Those 3 blacks, yeah. Actually, that one's the earth wire from the battery. Those 2 are to do with the dash panel. That's your jumper wire. Those 2 are both for the, I think they're 2 different lengths. One's for a big twin and one's for or you shorten one. Anyway, they're the battery live terminals. Right, this long one with 2 wires goes to your backlight. So we leave those long at the moment. But they basically run, one goes from there, backlight, to one of these terminals, and the other one runs down the frame and goes to the brake light switch. That is the front horn, and that end's that end. Big terminals that end. So that is your headlamp feed is the red wire, and the horn feed is the green wire. So that goes from there to there. 3 wires bonded together and a black going through the sheathing. That is your main wires, so that's main power up to the switch from your terminal there. Lighting for the rear, and that's your coil feed, and that one is your oil pressure lamp. 3 wires loomed up, and that's your generator loom, yeah? So that goes from there down to your relay and generator. Comes with this, it's not a good wiring guide, but it tells you what the looms do, you know? So that gives you the lengths, yeah? And where they all go.
Okay.
So let's pinch those up a little bit. That's tight enough for that. Okay, right, so because we're not running a standard rear lamp, these will be miles too long. So start at the end, yeah, that you want to come from. You can always trim them down. Right, so we've got to decide, the wires come from here. So I'll put 2 wiring clips on here and here, look. Might have to undo them. I think I'll loosen that one off as well, just to make life a bit easier. See if that soldering iron's hot yet.
good wire doing, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got a little block with clamps on it, but if you're just doing it by yourself, you can do it like that. It's easy enough. So these wires, they go in there, but you have a spring on them, right? And you line your holes up, hopefully. Push that through there, and that's your wiring connection, yeah? So probably go in the other way. I'll do that one. This is an old British style lamp called a Miller. Okay. It should look nice and neat, you know. We go that side, I think. Okay, so then our wires, because it comes to here, we want to run down this tube, I think. I think it will look better.
Yeah.
Instead of going along and up, I think. I'm going to leave a nice loop there, yeah? I don't think that looks too bad. I'm guessing go underneath that. You can candy twist these up, they don't look too bad. It just stops all the, looks a little bit funkier and just stops all the wiring flapping around, you know?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'd have to put about, whether you use cloth tape, wiring clips, whatever you can lay your hands on, you know. But if you've got those two wires, you'd have to put, but that you could probably put a clip there and one at the top, and that'll do it, you know.
Yeah.
Used to do it on the British bikes for the headlamps, you'd lace them.
Mind you, when you used to plait your hair, is it?
Oh yeah. Plaiting my fringe back in the 80s.
That's it, yeah.
Right, let's get some tape. I'll have to use tape for a moment until I find some proper clips for it. Again, you don't want anything too tight, you know. Just makes it look a little bit different, you know.
Doesn't it?
Right, so I'm going to drop him underneath. Right, just stops any damage there, yeah. Right, so obviously that would have gone all the way through here, yeah, and clipped all the way around the rear mudguard and gone to the back light. So these are miles too long now. So that one goes down through there and goes to your brake light switch. It feeds from the coil feed down to the brake light switch. So when your ignition's on, you have brake light. In a minute, actually. So let's get our terminals, because that's obviously miles too long now, and that one's miles too long. So we want a small terminal on that end. You've got to tie it all in with all the rest of the wires, but just make sure you've got a nice run there, yeah? Okay, that all looks all right. And round this side, so you've got to pick up those two positions on the brake light switch, yeah?
Yeah.
1, 2. What I like to try and do is leave enough length and go underneath this, because then if your brake pedal's operating, it doesn't chafe all the wire up.
Okay.
So if you've got the wire running over the top or something like that, you can just chafe it all up, yeah? Pig. Okay, that's him. Now a red one, That to go up there. And he feeds on the coil feed, so they're nicely together. We want to cut him off roundabouts there. Take that screw out of there, make sure that terminal fits it, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so when they're tightened up, those two, before you put any power in, yeah, see that outer casing? You can short out. So you just bend those like that, look, see? That's all it takes.
Okay.
Just bend them out, just to make sure they don't short out on there, yeah? So that's that lot. You've got one more wire dropping down there, which we'll put the top loom in now, and you can see where that goes. So he goes to the coil. Right, this one we've got to shorten down and just put on one of our terminals here. Doesn't matter which one at the moment. Leave a little bit of extra on it, it won't do any harm. Right, now your top loom, which is this one. Okay, that's the anything with the small terminals, yeah? All go at this end for the little tiny screws on those, yeah? You want to slide that back a bit. Doesn't matter where at the moment. Right. You want to give yourself plenty of length on all of that lot. Again, plenty of length. Makes no difference at all. You can just pull that back through and hide it under the tank, yeah? Right, so these two, that runs down the frame and goes to your oil pressure switch, that one. Making sure it goes in through where the other wires went, just to keep it all neat and tidy, yeah? Okay, these on the oil switch there. So let's get these on. That doubles up on your coil. That's your live. So that's your power from the battery goes up to there, yeah? So on a WL, battery negative, battery positive wire, red 13-inch, so they're all the same. I like to shorten these down, but while I'm doing it, I leave them long, yeah? You know when you've done these wrong. I've done it before. If you get those two wires mixed up, you turn the ignition on and the flame goes, phew!
Ooh, okay.
And that's the end of that. Right, so that's your live from the battery, yeah? And the battery box is in. Feeds that goes up to your main switch and then distributes back down, yeah?
Okay.
So that is your lighting wire. Now none of this, when you're doing it, looks like it should fit where it's going, yeah? Basically, don't worry about it, there's nothing you can do, it's just the way they look, yeah? So that one links to that one, okay? On one side of the coil, and on the other side of the coil, you have the wire that feeds to the distributor, which is that one. I've left that one in there because it's totally original. See, what you've got to do is this lot. I've got to find some nuts, some bolts that fit those. They go on there and hold the coil on the back plate, yeah? Little funny shaped back plate. They go round the frame tube, okay, and that all bolts that on there. So basically, that lot, once it's on there, whence?
For whence?
I've gone old English. Once that's on there, look, then basically most of your wiring's hidden, yeah? So get that on, but I've got to paint that first. It shouldn't be that, it should be matte black. But this is just giving you a basic guide to the wiring runs, you know? When you're doing these, yeah, soldering them on, what you want to do is get solder onto the wire first. It's called tinning. So you just tin up that wire.
Why do you do that then?
Just makes it easier. When you put that terminal on it, yeah, it'll just all suck together so much better. That's enough. And you pop him on there, because that's already solder coated. So he goes down on there. Just heat the top. Take a while to get some heat through it. Right, you see that starting to fall down the hole?
Yep.
That's basically enough on there. So that is our other connection on the frame. So he's set nice and hard. So that's all of our wires. That's one side of the coil, those two are the other side of the coil, yeah? So when we get the coil on, when I've done that, all of these can be tidied up, yeah?
Yeah.
Now you either leave all of these loose and you play around with it when the tank goes on and which side and underneath or whatever, you know. I mean, there is pictures of it in the anorak book and it's taped on here, but because we've made that certain seat thing and stuff, we're not quite sure how it's all going to line up, yeah? So you just play around with your wiring. The only one you've got to be careful of is if it comes up, that's your tank support bolt, yeah? If you trap them like through there, the tank will hit that and it will pinch the wires, and the same with the loom that runs down here. You can pinch them and short them out, so you just want to make sure there's plenty of leeway everywhere, yeah? That is your loom that goes from the dash panel down to the voltage regulator and the generator, yeah? Or the relay and the generator. So we'll come in this side with that. Again, plenty of length on everything, doesn't matter, you just push it all back through when you wire up the switch, yeah? What you want to do is, I think they run around here originally, because obviously you've got the two-part tank, yeah? So you've got a great big fuel tank going right the way through there, so you can't just drop them down. So they have to, which is why they're quite long. Okay, right, so we've got on here switch relay. So that goes up to your switch, so that's clearly the green one, yeah? So we'll go up there or behind that, wherever you want to go. Because you've got the fuel tap here and all sorts of things, you know? So which is why you want to get it all in now, and then as you add bits, yeah, you can wiggle around and decide where you want everything to go. And those are always very long, so what I do is, you can have a look on this one, look, you just twist them up and it just gives you a little bit of a, takes some of the length out of the wire instead of having all. You can shorten them all, but I don't advise doing it until, if you want to, you can do it, but that's how they looked originally. They were just twisted up.
Okay.
With wiring generally, it's best, I find, to leave it long all the time you can, and then once you know everything's right, if you want to shorten it and tidy it all up, you can.
Yeah.
But it's generally, as rule of thumb, best to leave it long. So all I do is get any sort of mandrel, anything like that. Just curl it up a bit, that's all. Just take some of that out of it, you know. That's better. So those two feed through there, go to the bottom of the relay. Then you have another link wire, and he goes from the other side of the generator to the top of the relay, that one. He goes through there. Right, so we've got a solid state relay. Like two wires that come down from the loom, yeah?
Yeah.
Our black is obviously, red is obviously live, yeah? But somebody's painted on here somewhere, I saw somewhere. Oh, it's on the other bike. But if you look on there, can you see that letter B there? Okay? So that's your red wire. Okay, so I want to put him on there. Okay, your black one goes to the other side of the relay on the bottom end. Okay, so then the other side of your generator wires, yeah, because you've got your green on the outside, that goes to the top there. There's one bit you have to be careful on with this. See how close that terminal is to the cylinder head? You could put that on there, look. If it comes loose and vibrates, there's a chance it could touch it. So you just want to put it in a way that it's facing that way, the terminal flag. Yeah, these are called flag terminals. So you want it to face that way. If you do it the other way, it can end up spinning round, bending up and shorting out on that, which you don't want to do. Okay, so that's your bottom end wiring done. This can only go on one way, your cap, look. A deep hole and a shallow hole. Your deep hole goes at the front because you've got two terminals, yeah? Basically, one more bit of wire goes to the front. Doesn't matter which hole you put it through, doesn't matter where it goes. You just, I'm sure there is a anorak way of doing it, but just come up through there. Take that rubber grommet out of there. They never had rubber grommets in them. Okay, so that's your horn feed and headlamp feed. Again, plenty of length on those. Right, now your 3-4 wires that go down the handlebars, which I won't get into at the moment, but they all got terminals on them, okay? So one comes from your handlebar, sorry, from your lighting wire,
yeah,
which is, can't remember which one it is now, I'll have to look up. So basically into the switch, it's one wire into the switch, 2 wires out, okay? So your one wire you join, run up the handlebars to your lighting switch, which is underneath, I think, and then your 2 wires back out just go to your headlamp for dip and main beam.
yeah.
Horn wire, basically a very basic circuit. The green on the front loom goes to one side of the horn, the other side just goes to a black wire, runs up with that lot through the handlebars to the horn push. So when you push it, it earths it out.
Yeah.
So that's live, just earths it out, makes the horn go beep beep. So that's your basic wiring. I won't get into this at the moment because I've got to work out how to wire it up civilian on a military switch.
So there's a difference obviously then.
Yeah. Because you've got also blackout lamps, all sorts of shit in there.
Yeah.
So you just want it to work ignition, lights, that's it. But normally you see that is only running blackouts.
Yeah.
You have to push that button down to get civilian lighting. So that's basically it for the actual where the looms go. As you can see, it's pretty simple, realistically. If you break it into the sections that it is, it's just a quirky way of doing it. Or why they didn't make just one loom, I don't know.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
You know, it's just the way things were done, I suppose.